Welcome to Delightfully Dysfunctional, a podcast about navigating the emotions of the human condition and the challenges that come with it. I'm Keilani Mason, a psychotherapist and life coach with James Timmons, an ever-curious human. This is not a replacement for mental health therapy. Please seek out mental health care if that's what you're needing. This is an opportunity for self-healers to dive deep and understand more about themselves. Welcome back to Delightfully Dysfunctional. I'm Keilani Mason, your host, and I'm here with my co-host, James Timmons. Hi. And man, we had a whole episode planned to roll out, and then we found out that it had been corrupted and not recorded correctly.
Yeah.
So we are having a redo, or at least trying to patch something together.
Yeah. So, but today is a really big day
Yes.
for a couple reasons. Number one, well, okay, not in any particular order, but we just reached 10,000 downloads.
Yes, that happened today.
Yeah.
That was really exciting.
At 4 o'clock in the morning, I screenshotted it.
Oh, wow.
I happened to be up. Well, I got
You're the party animal. 4 a.m.
No, I wake up with anxiety at early in the morning every day. So because of my anxiety-induced awakening, I saw I saw 10,001. That's where I screenshotted. But then the other reason why today is so significant is because we're in the new studio. Yes. Keilani diligently painted this back wall of this really cool muted color, and you see all the lights reflecting.
He's really excited about the color because he picked the color. Yeah, we had not had time, and it had been on the to-do list for so long to get this wall painted and to get the sound panels up and just dial everything in.
Yeah.
And we had the time, and we're able to hustle to get it done. So it feels really exciting to be much closer to home because it's in my garage.
Yeah. So Priya is sleeping, and Zach has this really dope, you can't see it, but if you could imagine with your mind's eye, there's a keyboard, there's dual monitors, there's a MacBook, a microphone controller, the whole thing, and he's got his producer mic. But the reason I brought all that up is because there's also a baby monitor sitting right there. Mm-hmm. Zach is not in the room right now, but he will come back, and
he's multitasking.
Yeah, now we're all in the same room, and it feels cozy. You know?
These chairs are cozy.
Yeah.
I'm I could fall asleep.
Yeah. I feel this is such a good vibe, and it feels more customized. So anyway, I'm excited for this, and we'll just...
You're right, though. Those milestones are coinciding really nicely, and that feels good.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because earlier today, I know we had researched about kind of different benchmarks for podcasts and everything. Mm-hmm. But I looked up basically how do you compare yourself in your podcast to other podcasts? Yeah. And it really did make me feel good. Our little baby podcast is doing pretty good because they were saying on average for a just starting out podcast that doesn't have its own kind of base audience, to probably 50 downloads an episode, that would be a good expectation.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So in comparison to on average how ours have
10
been
times
doing,
that,
it feels really validating because, the work that we're doing, it's pretty much, chatter. We're here doing this. And then we're just planning and plotting what we're wanting to do moving forward. But sometimes you don't always have a clear sense of what that looks like out in the world and how many people are listening.
Yeah.
So thank you, delightful humans, for listening. I actually kind of had a profound insight while I was at the conference, and but I want to come back to knowing more about what happened. You said last night or yesterday it was a good day, and you were having some day drinks. And so I want to hear about how your day went. But so I got back from the Psychedelic Science Conference, and it was amazing. I learned so much, and I met so many great people. And so I felt really inspired and was thinking about my passion and the work that I do and kind of my path that I've gone on. And I realized, wow, you boil it down, and it was someone else in the conference speaking, but when you boil it down, I'm in the business of trying to reduce human suffering, to try and create hope. I want to help create hope increase love and connection with other people so that we can see one another's true humanity. And I think that the combination of these things and connection with other people is a real vessel for healing. So I was sitting with that and thinking about, I really thought at one point that meant helping kids be more resilient and working in the schools. And that is certainly a piece of it. But after several years working in elementary schools and as a counselor, I realized, no, it's more than that. We have to help heal the adults. The adults have to heal from their shit so that they can be better grown-ups and better parents. And I'm like, no, it's more than that. It has to be families. Like, it starts with the family. And like, how do we help couples feel connection so that they can model that to their kids and have healthy little family units? And now I've reached this understanding through the podcast that it's really about community.
Yeah.
And that's part of what feels so good about doing this is like, there's a sense of community that I feel, whether or not our wonderful dear listeners are in this studio space with us or not. Like, I feel it. I feel that they're here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, because it's one thing when we first started this, it didn't necessarily have that feeling of like, oh, there's a lot of people that are going to be listening to this, you know. But now it actually it like I feel seen, you know, and but yeah, that it's resonating with people. It's super encouraging. Yeah, that community aspect, because you were sharing not on one of the episodes, but last time we were here, like planning for all this, that you made that same point about community, and that I thought about that more like throughout the week, how that is like the ultimate form of like what I think you said, like accountability or something, or
I think that connection is really important. I guess I know that us sharing and being vulnerable about hard things that we've gone through or hard lessons too, it kind of allows other people to let some of their barriers be a little bit more at ease and examine themselves from that perspective. And my hope is that we're also giving an opportunity for what self-compassion as you heal through that and grow through that looks like. So I think that community in the sense of accountability of just seeing what it might sound like or look like to heal through something, and try to rise up. Still, I think that that's a really important piece. So and accountability is maybe woven in because at least you're showing that there's this other way instead of stuffing it down and letting it kind of eat you alive. You
know, it's funny. You said stuffing, and I realized how hungry I am because I thought of like stovetop stuffing.
That was immediately what came to your mind.
The first thing.
I don't have any stovetop stuffing. Do you want a cookie?
No, thanks. No, talking about community. On the flip side of that, community is also like where tribalism exists. But I love that we're almost like creating this community of like curious culture, you know, and just like this healthy thing. But anyway, what's the topic of today's episode?
Man, I feel like I rolled a dice and was like, what are we going to talk about today?
Yeah, we kind of had to like pull it together because we have this is actually going to be the freshest episode that you guys will have heard because it's going live the day after tomorrow.
Yes.
And normally we're about a month out. But
I know we've got to catch up because I was gone for the conference. I know. Okay.
Well, we had that buffer, and then the last episode is destroyed or not. It's corrupt, so we can't use it. So then it's like, okay, well, yeah, that's okay. You guys will get fresh.
We're rolling with it. Yeah, you're gonna get fresh information. So I think I actually realized that perhaps the last episode that was about emotionally immature parents, I may have mentioned that we were going to be going into more information and. Because we're still sorting out kind of what was salvaged and wasn't on the corrupt episode, we might be able to come back to that. But for today, I want us to actually talk a little bit about cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT.
Yeah.
CBT has been a very popular form of therapy for probably, for quite some time, but I'd say especially the last 20 years or so.
Okay.
It's viewed as an evidence-based therapy. I sometimes feel torn about that because there's a lot of different ways that one can heal, and this is one of them.
Okay.
But I don't know that I prioritize it over others in the work that I do. I think that there's some clients who work really well with this outline, and there's some that struggle and need a different approach. So I kind of personally have a bit of an eclectic approach when I work with my clients, but these are it's a really great beginning place to understand how to be more aware of your thoughts and have metacognition, which isn't just kind of writing with every thought you have in your brain as believing it to be certain and true, but really questioning it and hopefully trying to question it with a bit of empathy and a non-judgmental attitude. So, do you know anything about CBT before we start? Have you heard of it before?
Yeah, I've definitely heard of it. I know that we've talked about it in the past. I'm of the modalities, I'm probably most familiar with DBT, but no, CBT. I had a counselor who that was like his specialty. That was his modality, and yeah, so I know that I've experienced CBT quite a bit.
Yeah, and there's some CBT stuff in DBT stuff, all these acronyms.
Yeah.
DBT is dialectical behavioral therapy. So we are going to be talking about CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. And this is a kind of this idea that our thoughts influence the way that we feel and our feelings influence our actions. So how do we kind of start tweaking our thoughts and working with that? And this was something I actually found, again, probably when I was in high school. I don't know if it was on my own or if there was some kind of information that someone gave me, but it was helpful. So we're going to talk over some different, they call them unhelpful thinking styles or dysfunctional thinking styles. I guess I'll go with unhelpful. And all humans experience them. I check myself when sometimes I find myself falling into them. So it's nothing to feel like worried about if you identify with any of them. It's a great way to continue being curious if you like recognize some that you might get stuck in. So the first one is all or nothing thinking, seeing things in extreme black and white terms without considering the shades of gray. So this must be perfect, or if I fail, I'm a total failure. It's a lot of that back and forth. I feel like in the past, in my own perfectionism, I would fall into some of those categories mentally, really feeling like, oof, it has to be so perfect. Yeah. How do you relate to that one?
Yeah, well, that's lately, I've been in 2 books lately, which is not characteristic of me, but
my nerdiness is rubbing off.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so like the theme, the common thread between the 2 books and just like my own experience lately has been that the hardest lesson that I've learned is that if I want to be like successful or accomplish anything worth accomplishing, it's 99% most likely going to happen in very small incremental progress, like one step in front of the other. Because my whole life there were moments, and I think everyone can kind of relate to this, where there were moments of like somebody saving you or somebody bailing you out or like some big breakthrough. So then as an adult, I that's kind of how I navigated, where it's like, okay, if I don't get immediate results on this, then I'm going to abandon it, you know? But then I heard this take from Brene Brown, and she said something along the lines of like, nobody's going to come rescue you. Like, you have to realize that nobody's going to come save you. No, that was either her or Mel Robbins. One of them said that. And it was definitely Mel Robbins. Yeah, she said, nobody's going to come save you. And like, you just have to basically realize that there's a process, you know? And in my own life, that has been so obvious lately, where it's, and then this book I've been reading, The Mountain Is You by Brianna Wiest. That's the theme. I'm only in chapter 2, but where she's kind of like, you know, you have to, just realize that there's a process if you want to turn your life around. So anyway, that was a lot of talking.
Yeah, I when clients have big goals, and I've had to be real with myself in my big goals too. I can be really passionately excited about something and get frustrated with like the slow steps that really in reality it takes, right, to reach something or to have the diligence or determination. And I'm really all about the baby steps and in really trying to praise myself and others for the baby steps that they take.
Yeah.
And instead of viewing it as like, oh, it's Mount Everest to get to this place or whatever it might be, like, okay, well, what does it take to get to base camp? Let's be realistic here. And what are those, how can I break it down further? Where could I go to get more information and maintain curiosity? Or we were just had some friends over the other night and I was talking about maintaining the idea of fun and that really being like the podcast being a real turning point for me and recognizing that as a need. I think I can kind of like be a workhorse with myself, like keep doing it, keep like down this path. And I'm discovering how important it is to have fun. Yeah. And that can be what drives a passion like this or even within my business. That's my hope is like driving like what feels fun and what can I maintain curiosity about.
Yeah. Okay. Here, can you unpack that a little more with the fun?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Fun as in I don't have an expectation of it generating money for me or of it generating anything in particular. Yeah. Like the only expectation I have is that it's an opportunity for me to practice a skill that I want to practice. Yeah. And to have a place where I can really vocalize my thoughts instead of them being stuck in my head.
For sure.
And that if I can just enjoy that for what it is, that can probably drive more creativity than if there's if I'm looking at it with a critical eye for not serving me X, Y, and Z. And so it feels really good to really release control of that and enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, and going back to like, because our podcast as just like an example, like we mentioned, we just hit 10,000 downloads, and that is just from our incremental progress. Because I saw this thing where they said 6 months from now, like something along the lines of like you can start today, and then 6 months from now you'll have either 6 months of progress or 6 months of excuses or something like that. And I remember reading that and thinking about our podcast and going, yeah, like every single reel and then every episode, we're 22 episodes in, right? No, 21. Yeah, this is our 22nd.
Yes, we're recording 22.
Yeah. And yeah, in almost 6 months of time where we've just been consistent. And it's like, if we had just overthought it for the last 6 months, we would not have 10,000 downloads. We would not have like millions of views. That's
my specialty, overthinking things.
Yeah. So. Well, this time you didn't. Like you guys took the charge on getting this studio all dialed in. So
yeah, I mean, I think that's part of healing from perfectionism. And there was a big realization that I had. I've spoken about it in different ways, but I guess part of the realization last fall when the ball for the podcast started getting rolling was I only have so many years on this earth and there's no way of me knowing. And here I have maybe a handful of exciting ideas, more than a handful if I'm being honest, different things where it's like, oh, someday I'll do this. Someday I'll do it. And it was like, when the fuck is someday coming? Like, I've got to create someday. I've got to, if that's what I want, if I sit with like the ideas I'm holding or the direction I'm going and what lights me up, then it requires an action step.
Yeah, totally. So
like, and it can be done fearfully so. And there have been so many times when I've stumbled along the way too, like not within the podcast example, but where I've pursued something that I thought I was passionate about in my business, and it ended up being a drain. It ended up being like the excitement wasn't enough to sustain, what was going on. Yeah. But certainly, like, there's a community too that we've formed just between you, me, and Zach, and the accountability and to the project that we all have. So I appreciate that from both of you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. You said someday, and then the song "Someday" by Mariah Carey started ringing in my head. and that distracted me. So I apologize.
And the first thought in my head when I think of someday is like, isn't it like the Wizard of Oz? Is like a song.
No, I think it's somewhere over the rainbow.
Somewhere. You're right.
But the one I was thinking was someday, ooh, someday. Yeah.
Were you a Mariah Carey fan? Ooh, look at the new setup. Wow, the crowd's going wild.
So we've leveled up. Zach has all these new toys that he's implemented into this. I was sharing when you were out of the room, Zach, how I told the audience that if they can imagine your setup, you have 3 computer monitors and 1 baby monitor, keyboard, like that MIDI controller. Oh no, the switch. Yeah, all this stuff.
It's like powerful position.
It's really high tech.
Yeah. I mean, the lighting, for those of you who are watching it, James and I are get the lighting dialed in a little better, and there's wall decorations coming. But other than that, this is a pretty nice setup we've got going on now.
And I can feel it warming up a little bit. And right now it's at the temperature where it's like I could fall asleep.
Oh no, we gotta keep going.
I need a margarita.
Okay. We gotta keep. Is this the after hours episode? No.
Yeah, actually, that's something we're talking about.
We were talking about it. Okay. We got to stay focused. We've only got 1. We got like 7, 8. No, we got 9 more to go. Here we go.
9 more what?
Unhelpful thinking styles. That's the topic for today.
Oh.
Reel it in, man.
My eyes are starting to glaze over.
No, I'm going to kick you under the table. Okay. Overgeneralization means drawing a broad conclusion based on a single negative event or limited evidence. For example, thinking, I made a mistake in this presentation. I will always be terrible at public speaking.
Yeah, that's a bad way to think.
I know you have some kind of like natural confidence that escapes some of these, like that one, I think, but I feel that this is a really common example that people can get stuck in, actually. This idea of like or that like, oh, one bad thing happened when an unpleasant thing happened when I went to this place, so I'm never going to go there. So there's a lot of ways that these can be very limiting. The next one is mental filtering, or focusing exclusively on negative details while ignoring positive aspects of a situation. So just selectively filtering out the positive experiences and leading to a really skewed perception of reality. And this is why I really feel that gratitude practice is important for everyone to be using, because our brain naturally, because we're just trying to assess risk around us, our brain is naturally trying to look for the things that are bad or unpleasant.
Yeah.
So we really need to practice the act of looking for the positive. Is that one that you can relate to at all?
2 thoughts come to mind with that one, and that is my perception of Costco and road rage. Because and I can go on for days on both of those things. But no, I should be more grateful, when I'm driving, that the technology exists, that I have a car, all that stuff. But instead I'm usually like, why are you going under the speed limit?
But yeah, maybe you should practice some grateful driving.
Yeah, I'll be like,
I don't know. Yeah,
good on you for being safe.
Good for you,
fella.
Start paying attention. Everyone knows their seatbelts and giving them a thumbs up.
Yeah, good job.
Super duper.
Good job for keeping me from going the speed limit. I have to go to Costco with the rest of your. Just kidding.
Okay.
Sorry, that's passive aggressive. That wasn't grateful.
That wasn't. Yeah, practice gratitude, man. Okay. Well, and honestly, we've actually been, this last week has been so busy that we have dropped off of our gratitude practice at home, and so we gotta dial it back in.
Here, let's do it right now. Let's all go around and say one thing that we're thankful for.
Okay. Who's starting?
See, I can't think of anything.
Well, I can. Okay, I'm grateful. I could think of like 5 things, so that's what's actually hard. So it's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for the time that Zach took to figure out the equipment today.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just felt like we were working as a team, even though we were tired. Always tired with a toddler. But yeah, I'm grateful for that. If I have to only pick one. But.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Is it my turn? Okay. I'm grateful that you guys got this room all dialed in and you provided the technology and the lighting and everything. And the new that we've leveled up with Zach's new
sound effects. He's going crazy with
the sound effects won't be a like a common thing. I'm just
I don't know. Will he restrain himself? I don't know.
This is the pilot. Yeah.
This, if we did this all the time, the appropriate sound effect would be.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it's like too much like a radio broadcast, right? So we won't be using those too much.
Okay, your turn, Zach. What are you grateful for?
Well, kind of like you. I think it's cool that this room was actually in process of being built and a lot of the equipment purchased before you guys even got this podcast up and running. And then we just got kind of sidetracked on doing other stuff that was taking priority over it. But how cool that all this time later, when we needed a space in a pinch, we had this available.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for that, for sure.
Yeah.
Grateful it's getting used and it's not just sitting in a room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It looks great.
It does.
So similar to that is discounting the positive or minimizing and dismissing positive experiences or accomplishments as irrelevant or insignificant. So kind of undermining our own achievements and reinforcing this negative idea of ourselves. People can, and this is one I think a lot of people who have imposter syndrome can feel, where it's like, oh, getting that good grade on the test doesn't matter, or accomplishing this and that isn't, they don't kind of embody it.
Yeah. Okay, that's really interesting because I've been doing that lately where I'm so committed to like creating my best life where I've told myself like, okay, if something awesome happens, just stay cool, James. Like, don't get all excited, And I don't know that I still feel like that's a good way to approach it. But then at the same time, it's like, no, it's okay to celebrate, your own personal milestones, but maybe here's the thing, maybe not like post everything on social media, all my little accomplishments, like hoping for praise, because the thing I'm trying to overcome is like the people pleasing,
I think that was a really good insight. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Like you got to kind of look at it and peel it apart a little bit more too.
Yeah.
So I think that was a really good insight and it's not, I think I've spoken about this before, but I think a really powerful, piece for me that helped me just live my life in the world was realizing that the good and the bad things that happen or that I experience are to my benefit. Mm-hmm. So even when things are hard, in the moment I'm like, well, I don't freaking see any benefit currently, but I know that I will, or I'm going to be in search of it, or what is the lesson here? What is it that I need to be practicing? Maybe it's balance. Maybe it's saying no to things. Maybe it's, trying to level up and have more discipline, whatever it is. And then that makes the hardship more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Kind of what is the thing I'm supposed to be unlocking and capitalizing on in this moment, even if it's difficult. Yeah. So if that's a piece too, it's kind of like, this is a chapter, and not all chapters in any book are sunshine and rainbows, or we wouldn't read them. That'd be really boring.
I like Sunshine and Rainbow books.
I don't even think that there's children's books that are all sunshine and rainbows.
There's Care Bears.
Care Bears? I mean, but they have to go use their Care Bear stare when shit goes down.
That's right. That was you who was like talking about Care Bears at one time, right?
I loved the Care Bears. It's been so long though since I've seen them, but yeah.
There was a comedian who brought. Oh, it was Dave Chappelle. He's like, the Care Bear stare.
I remember whenever they're like really big cumulonimbus clouds, like the big fluffy huge ones, and I was little, I'd be like, that's a Care Bear cloud. I know it.
See, it was so long ago, I don't remember those details.
That's all I remember. But anyways, just kind of, I think that's part of like the not having black and white thinking too. It's a bit of combining maybe both of those techniques to realize like even the unpleasant moments are there to teach us something.
Yeah.
But yeah, making sure that we feel good about our accomplishments, and not in a sense of I'm better than anyone or that I need praise, but internally I can feel accomplished. I can feel good about it. That's a different feeling than needing that like external validation.
Yeah.
Jumping to conclusions. This one is tricky for a lot of people. Making assumptions without sufficient evidence, thinking that we can mind read or fortune tell, predict what the outcome is going to be. And that's just not true. I feel like it runs rampant. Some of these, I just have images of like all that like TV smut, like, I don't know, like The Bachelor and Desperate Housewives of whoever, wherever, Housewives of whatever's happening somewhere. Like there's a lot of jumping to conclusions and thinking as though we know what's going on and we don't really. Emotional reasoning, believing that emotions reflect objective reality, so that we conclude that that's what really must be happening. I feel guilty, so I must have done something wrong. Just that a feeling is enough to indicate that it's reality.
Like a spidey sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our thoughts and our feelings are there to guide us, but that doesn't mean that they're telling us the truth.
Yeah.
That can be confusing.
Usually it's just like a trigger response or something, you know?
Yeah. And it's good for us to be able to take some steps back and look at them. So I think that there's a lot of these unhelpful thinking styles that if we can understand them, really help have a better kind of grasp of reality if we can pause long enough to kind of question it. And there's some techniques to do that, but I'm going to try and keep going through them. I know that you're getting warm and sleepy. Don't get sleepy. Okay.
Just kidding.
Catastrophizing, which is also just a fun word to say, but exaggerating the significance of the consequence of an event or foreseeing like it's going to be horrible. So it's going to be disastrous, only dwelling on that. And that's a really common one.
Well, that's one thing that I did with my whole self-sabotage is that it's almost like I was punishing myself for what I did. And so I would think that this awful consequence was coming and then it would come, but it was because I kind of created it, you know? And so that's a really interesting topic there.
Yeah, especially as you were saying, you've kind of been examining self-sabotage in this book that you've been reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a good book. We should have her on. Brianna Weiss. She's got like 1 million followers. So Brianna, if you're listening, hit me up.
I have to look her up. I'm excited. So yeah, catastrophizing can be a really common one. And I think it's important, like sometimes, I guess the technique I've been using a lot with clients and with myself when I notice maybe a lot of anxiety about some event coming up or whatever it might be, is for me to actually think through what is the worst case scenario that I'm actually worried about. Because sometimes it's a catastrophizing feeling, not necessarily like I haven't let the thought sit long enough to have details.
Oh, like
I let some of the details sink in, and then I let myself realize, well, you'd be able to survive that. Like, you'd be able to work through that.
So then you're able to, like, calm yourself down?
Yeah. Then, like, the worst case scenario, it's easier for me to, like, kind of confidently move through it.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah, and that's something we do, like, more than we should, obviously, where... we create this future event that does not exist, but then we have a trauma response to that thing that doesn't exist. So it's like, well, what a waste of energy. You have this negative reaction to something that doesn't even exist, you know?
Yes, and I've had that thought too, of like, what wasted energy went into this when that didn't even happen.
Yeah.
And I try to let that inform then the next time that a strong emotion comes up, to be able to like really question, like, do I want to be anxious about this?
Yeah. Well, I've learned that it's like betting on yourself at that point where you've like mastered resilience, where if it's kind of like, for me lately, it's been like, okay, this awful thing is possible, but I'm not going to worry about it until it's at my feet. And then at that point, I've survived so many things now that I'll figure it out, you know? So like, I can put it out of my mind at that point.
And I think it's the question I ask myself is, well, what's in my control and out of my control in those moments too? That comes up a lot in our conversation, but especially when I'm kind of sitting with maybe an anxiety provoking what if.
Yeah.
then I'm like, well, okay, well, what's in my control?
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z, I've done that. And usually what I'm stressing out about are the things outside of my control, like what the weather's going to be for whatever event it might be, or what could go, like the other people involved.
Yeah.
And like, I don't really have control over that. So that's a helpful way to kind of set the anxiety down and realize I don't need to pick this up. I don't need to waste my energy on that.
Yeah, I mean, like the opposite action, it's like instead of worrying about some future event, the best way to combat that is to focus on the present, because like I've discovered that your situation today is a result of what you were doing like a year ago, you know? And so if you want to avoid future catastrophe, then just do your absolute best, or, you know, do the best that you can today. And that just makes it more like I have control, and I'm way less likely to face that catastrophic event that I've created when I'm just earnestly doing the best that I can today.
Yeah. And that's what feels better, like internally. Feels more authentic to be like
a peaceful place.
Yeah, it's a peaceful place. Exactly. To feel like, my actions are aligning in the direction that I want to go. And sometimes that means having to practice emotion regulation so that we don't make an impulsive or reactive decision. Yeah. Sometimes that means having to really be aware of the people we surround ourselves with, because they have an influence on us.
Yeah.
It means sometimes really having to question the way that you've done something or the things that you've believed about yourself. And that's where a lot of growth and change happens. But I feel sometimes, I don't think that there is a way to warn someone, because at the same time, I think it is the best path to take is to start walking down this curiosity towards healing. But it is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard, but it's so worth it that I caution myself and try and even saying that it's hard.
Yeah.
Because the benefits when you get to a place where you feel like you have self-efficacy, like you have your hands on the steering wheel of your life.
Yeah.
That feels really good. That feels really good.
Yeah. Well, and for me, and this is the chapter I was listening to on the way over here in that book, she says, remember the word we created, bufferometer? That's kind of along the same lines, where she says, like, in healing your life from self-sabotage, like the place you're trying to avoid is that you make a pact with yourself, basically, that you never want to feel this way again. And that's such a beautiful place to journey from. So then when you say, like, you don't want to say that it's hard, because it's not really hard. It's more like it's very
uncomfortable.
Well, it's a very untraveled road. Most people just stay stuck in their like self-sabotage and those patterns and things. But when you have reached a point of rock bottom or just total devastation, and you're like, okay, I am going to now take control and get out of this place, and because you remember how awful it felt, you know. And so but that's but you come out resilient, wiser, and just eventually, you reach a point of peace, you know? And anyway, so I'm going on a rabbit trail, I think. But.
No, I think what you're saying is really important. And I think some things you have to break down along the way to get there is kind of an understanding of what's really important in life too, because we can all get really stuck in the rat race or comparing ourselves to other people. And that's only going to make us feel inadequate. And there's no way to know, really. It's not like you're getting just a snapshot of other people's lives in this moment that you know them, and only to the extent and how well you know them. Yeah. So that doesn't mean that when they're 90, you know what's going on, or even if they, obviously the odds of them making it to 90. Yeah. So it's something that you should put into perspective when it comes to that. But yeah, like if you can really just start comparing yourself and your growth to where you were last year, and have you gotten to a better place? And can you be really grateful and proud of the steps that you took to get there? Like, that's a really great place to be.
Absolutely.
And when I reflect on my last year, my last several years, yeah, there were some really uncomfortable moments, but there was a lot of really great growth, and it's taken me to a place that feels really good.
Yeah.
I want that for other people.
For sure. Yeah. Same. Well, I mean, like, life today is not as awesome as it once was, but it's a million miles away from where it was 1 year ago, you know?
Yeah.
So, so we'll get there. But anyway, what's the next, what's the next one?
So then we have personalization, taking excessive personal responsibility or blame for external events beyond one's control. So this is a lot of the people who say sorry all the time.
Is that alcohol?
Oh,
thank you.
Zach made a little drinky drink. It is the 4th of July.
I can't hear you in the mic.
Oh, it's the 4th of July episode, so we're getting some.
Zach it's starting to warm up in here, but Zach just gave me an ice cold. I think this is a seltzer.
It is.
So
Your favorite.
I'm gonna be wild here in a second.
Wild one seltzer. He took a sip, folks. Who knows?
So good.
But personalization is like a lot of people who are going to overly apologize, which sometimes drives me a little crazy.
Oh yeah.
And takes ownership for more than they need to. And I think that I used to probably do that a lot more. I feel like I've shifted a lot, and I'm more likely to say thank you for your patience if I'm a little bit late, or thank you for your flexibility.
That was a big one for me. Personalization was.
Yeah. It's one that we've talked about a little bit, but yeah, it's something.
I'm sorry for that. I'm just kidding.
No, stop apologizing.
Don't be sorry. I'm sorry.
Totally kidding.
Okay, then we're gonna breeze through these next ones.
The trauma on Keilani's face there.
I know. Yeah, I can't handle it. Okay, next one. Should statements, using should, must, ought to impose rigid expectations on oneself and others, and this can often be setting unrealistic standards or feeling guilty or frustrated if other people haven't met that standard. That's one that I've had to work on for myself and others. I think that oftentimes the level of self-compassion can be reflected in also the compassion that you show others. And I don't mean self-compassion like, oh, I've never done anything wrong or I'm perfect. Those aren't beliefs I have when I hold self-compassion. It's I am a human being who is learning and growing and fucks up and has to struggle and has to have insight and uncomfortable places to learn those lessons, and that I can honor that. That's what my self-compassion looks like. And I can give that to others more wholeheartedly when I'm practicing it myself.
Yeah, when I was at that center that I shared about before, the mental health place, they said the word should is shame language, and they have this saying that they say, don't shit on yourself and don't shit on others. And obviously it sounds like I'm saying shit, but I'm not using that word. So you guys can take that along with you.
There's a little treat from James.
Don't shit on yourself. If I drink more of these, I'll probably shit on myself.
Oh wow, things really unraveled quickly.
See
I think
what I'm saying?
Had two
when it hits your lips. When it hits your lips.
Oh no.
Well played.
That was
sorry.
good.
Am I gonna wake up Priya? That was just shouting. Okay.
No, she's good. Okay, we're on the last one. You hung in there. It's getting hot in the room. That is the flaw to the room design, is that it doesn't have central air.
But come fall, it'll be so down.
It'll be great. Okay, the last one, labeling.
I can't hear you.
Applying negative labels or judgments to oneself or others based on isolated behaviors or mistakes, such as I'm a failure, I'm a terrible person.
I'm sorry, start it over. Sorry, I got distracted. Go ahead.
Labeling.
Okay.
So it's applying a negative label or judgment to yourself. Like, I'm such a failure, I'm a terrible person, and you're just really looking on one isolated event or like not enough events to justify that label.
Yeah.
So these are all kind of automatic thoughts or unconscious thoughts. And part of CBT is trying to, categorize them so you can at least understand it and look at them and kind of exactly what we're doing. Like, is that something I do, or do I notice that with other people even?
Yeah.
But also, how do we work through overcoming that? And so they have some really great strategies, but if we need a break to cool down the room, we can take a break.
No, this drink is really working.
Oh, good.
I knew what I was doing with that one.
I'm gonna have to implement alcohol in every single recording because I feel all loosey goosey. But also there's a lot that's being activated from yesterday's drinking. So
What
'cause he said he
dysfunctional
was-
thinking style is this, Keilani? We need alcohol for every
alcoholism.
Oh, my alcoholism. Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. I'm so no.
Oh, no.
James is not an alcoholic.
But,
I shouldn't say sorry.
I mean, okay, I don't want that to be anyone's takeaway. You should apologize when there's something you should apologize for.
Yes.
But this is for the people who are apologizing over, like, I don't know.
I feel like that's a symptom of people pleasing.
Yeah.
You know? But hold on.
Okay.
The section that you just mentioned, what is it? Self-defeating labeling.
Yeah.
I was just thinking like that I've been doing that with like, you know, the greatest failure of my life that I consider that I've shared a lot about. And as you were speaking, I was thinking about how I feel like the opposite action or the counter would be radical acceptance, you know, because it's like, yes, I need to take ownership in what I did, and I've been beating myself and punishing myself up, beating myself up over it. But I have to accept that it happened because there are sometimes where I have the mood where I'm like, maybe I could still repair everything and like restore my old life, you know, and I'll dwell on that. And then I'll come to the realization where it's like, no, that's not available to me, you know, and then it's really hard and sobering, but it's important to like stay in reality and not drift off and imagine like, oh, what would happen if I like performed for everyone so that they would like accept me again or something. But it's like, and again, going back to that book that I heard this morning, she said, on the other side, like stop trying to like force people into your lives. I'm paraphrasing, but she says like in your new life, on the other side of it, there will be the people that are supposed to be in your life will be waiting for you, you know, and they're not just going to like you, they're going to love you. And I remember hearing that going, oh my gosh, you know, because there's a loneliness in like overcoming self-sabotage and like rebuilding your life. But just that comfort of knowing like, okay, if you stay the path, you stay the course and just like stick to the process, there's going to be people that love you waiting for you that you didn't, that you weren't really anticipating, you know? And so...
No, I love what you're sharing. Thank you, James. And what's coming up for me is the difference between feeling a sense of acceptance and feeling authentic acceptance.
Yeah.
And that's different.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I think you're on a journey of still learning a lot about yourself in some ways too.
Yeah.
And there's something to honoring that even in the uncomfortable moments that might be a really beautiful practice for you. Like you can accept that like I'm uncomfortable with this feeling.
Yeah.
And I had an idea of what I thought my life would look like right now.
Mm-hmm.
And like I know that what you consider your greatest failure and the ways that it has affected your life, it's kind of like someone, and it was you, but it's as if this pretty picture you had got spray painted all over it, right? And someone like trampled on it and puked on it, and like, I mean, it's a mess, right? And sorry, I'm like really making your life sound like
no,
lovely.
that's accurate.
That's accurate. But it's hard to work through what to do next, kind of when you look at the wreckage of that and you want so badly for it to look like that pretty picture again. Yeah. And I don't think that you fit into that box anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I think that there's some personal realizations that you've made along the way, and I think part of it is realizing in some sense too, like, well, I don't know that is what I want, or I'm not sure that's something that you need to sit with.
Yeah.
It's like if there's something comfortable about it because it was more certain, or it certainly felt that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if just to completely get into the details of it, you know, I have 4 kids, and I feel like like I'll convince myself that there's just no way to salvage my relationship with him at this point. It's just over, but if I could go back, to my marriage and home, then I would have a way better chance at like being their dad, But then I'm like, well, no, that's not available to me. I feel like I'm learning who I am at this point, and there's a lot that I can still incorporate from that era of my life, but I don't think that. I think I'm like becoming the most authentic version of myself now, and I'm trying to figure out, how my kids are gonna. I don't know. I guess I can't. I'll sit here for days if I try to unpack all this, but but yeah, just the way my kids fit into it, that's the difficult part,
And I think that is the hardest part. No, thank you for being really honest about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because there's a deep desire to have that time, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like I want them. I wish that they were as close as before my failure, but it's a very like destroyed or fractured relationship, but I just have to stay confident like that it will repair, so
yeah, I think that especially with your older kids, you could even have some conversations about it and invite them like to be a part of it. And I guess we've been surprised at times when we've just been really honest with Oakley about, hey, we really want to know what you're thinking and what you're feeling. We're always going to want to care about that and factor that in, and the honesty that does come up, and that feels really good. And so to be able to say even, hey, you don't know how many times I lie awake at night and wish that I could have done something differently because I would just I want to be there for your bedtimes, and I want to be there for wake ups, and I wish that I had that magic power, but I don't. So I need you to help me figure out what our relationship looks like so that it feels really good to you and it feels like we have that connection, and maybe something will come up like, well, I really like it when we do this.
Yeah.
Or I really miss when we had time to do that. Yeah. And I mean, obviously phrase it in your own words, but you might get more direction than you realize to just kind of say what you've said here, but in a kid way.
Yeah. Which is funny because I want to like, I'll be all ambitious when I'm going to go pick up my kids. Like I'm going to say all this to them, but then when I get them, I don't lean into it as much as I normally would. So, this has been a good talk. I'm inspired.
No, I think it can feel overwhelming, but I feel like if you're being sincere, it'll be heard. You got to keep just sprinkling in the seeds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My light just turned off. I think I need to charge it, but
oh yeah, we have fancy lights.
Yeah.
Fancy.
So, that was the last. Go ahead.
I was just letting you know you're at 1 hour.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
It doesn't feel like that.
I know.
Probably because this booze is flowing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, 4 sips in.
Yeah. What is this, White Claw?
Yes.
That's my jam. You know what? If we don't eventually get a sponsorship from White Claw, I'm gonna be disappointed because I've plugged them so much, and I have unashamedly, as a man, not like really just owned it. That White Claw's my jam.
That White Claw is your jam. I don't know.
Because it's nutritious.
I don't know that that's my number
delicious.
one sponsor pick. No offense, White Claw.
No, I mean, wouldn't it be? What if we got like a lifetime supply of White Claw? Then we could throw so many like basic white chick ragers.
My basic white chick ragers. Oh wow, my dream of dreams. Are you kidding me? My Asian glow can't handle that shit.
I'm not a basic white girl either, but I like basic white. I'm just kidding. No, I. You know what's funny is that I think I shared this before. I also like pumpkin spice lattes.
Yeah.
You are so basic. Wow. Oh my gosh. Did you ever see that Bo Burnham?
Bo Burnham?
Yes. His
white woman, a white woman's Instagram.
Yes. Yes.
No?
Dude. Oh my gosh. We're gonna have to play it for you. And then I want us to do a version. We're gonna film a version for, I don't know, all the socials, but it's James.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my god.
I do have a pair of UGG boots. I'm kidding. That's a little.
No.
I don't know. I don't know. He looked
Why did
really
you guys not look
serious.
surprised?
I looked right at you, dead in the eye. I was afraid.
For those of you listening, Zach and Keilani did not look surprised at all when I told them I have a pair of UGG boots. So that means that seems consistent with my character.
I know. We could probably make some other bets at this point too. Do you like frolicking in sunflower fields and taking pictures of your food?
No.
I take so many pictures of my food.
Of course you do.
I don't post them though. I've graduated from that.
Oh.
But if you look at my Facebook 5 years ago, it's like so many pictures of food.
I like that it says
There's an evolution.
Wait, you take so many pictures of you, but you don't post them. So he just scrolls through and looks at them by himself.
Is that just your private?
Late in the evening. Oh, remember that one time?
That French
steak,
toast.
though. Yeah. Look at that butter.
Do you guys watch me?
Do you have my place canned? Oh my god.
So anyway, do we have any advice for today?
I don't think we do today. Oh wait.
Oh, do we? I mean, we have like a full episode already, right?
I know. Yeah. I think actually I need to pull up our advice. So I think we are going to make people wait to hear.
Well, we're going to attempt after hours version of this, right? Where we do like 3 advices. It's like all advice.
Oh yeah.
Remember?
That's true. We are wanting more advice.
With White Claws.
Yeah, please write in. We're gonna attempt some kind of after hours bonus. So it'll be all advice, and we would love to hear whatever is going on in your life that you would like some anonymous advice for. You do not have to use your real name. You can give us details to throw us off. It is not a replacement for therapy. It is just our earnest attempt to understand your story and share kind of like the healthiest option or the option that we think might be best, but not a replacement for therapy. But still, we would love your advice. Please write in. There's a link in the bio.
And if your thing is like juicy enough, maybe we'll have you on.
Oh man,
Keilani's like, James, are you inviting strangers to my house?
Yeah. Now he's inviting strangers to my house.
Like if you're a basic white girl.
Oh god.
Hey, we're looking for delightfully dysfunctional, not just dysfunctional.
You need the delightful, a good
front.
dose of delightful. Yeah.
True. Well, all people are delightful, so.
Yeah. Well, we kind of gave you some vague advice.
That's true. Okay.
It was a James advice portion today.
Yeah.
But yes, anyways, today's episode was about just really identifying some of those thinking traps that are outlined with cognitive behavioral therapy. And I invite you to still really be checking yourself, and we'll have more conversations, I'm sure, that incorporate cognitive behavioral therapy down the road. But it is one tool in the toolbox that is really important when unraveling some of those thinking traps that might be plaguing you or you might be getting stuck in. So I hope that it has been enlightening, and thank you for joining us on this delightfully dysfunctional journey in this room that's heating up.
New studio.
Yeah, it's turning into a sauna. Woo!
It's still comfortable though. Like it's still nap temperature.
Oh man, I have too many layers on. Too many layers. All right, we have to escape this and cool it down. Music. Oh my gosh, it's happening.
We're next level now.
Join us next time on Delightfully Dysfunctional. Bye-bye.
Bye.